What's up, guys? Flow Forge here. Today, I wanted to talk about something a little bit esoteric. Hear me out. Wanted to talk about how there's a part of you which is different from the part of you that you're typically functioning out of, most of you. And this other part of you is more productive. And it's a skill learning how to get from this part to this part. And when you get into this part, the benefits is that life is more chill and you actually get more done. So it's more chill, you get more done, and it's just much easier to find a flow. And you just feel a lot better. It's more fulfilling. It's definitely the place that you were designed to be in. So let's talk about this. What is this sort of mental state that I'm talking about? Well, you've probably heard of mindfulness, and don't click off. This is very important for productivity if you want to get more done. You might have heard about this before, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit differently. So, you might have heard of mindfulness, right? Which is basically just having more awareness. You can think of it as the muscle or the skill of awareness, and that's really it. It's the skill of awareness. Well, when you become mindful, there's so many benefits. So many benefits. Mindfulness is actually can be, and I'm going to teach you how to make it correct for ADHD. You can be better at mindfulness than the average person if you have ADHD, but again, you have to learn how to exploit it. You need the ADHD kind of mindfulness. All right? So, I'm going to teach you how to do this. Well, we'll jump into one more benefit here real quick. So, the one benefit is you have clearer judgment. You can see things more clearly. You're not as focused or like wrongly focused on the wrong things. You can actually strategize and pick things, and you can do it fairly quickly, which is what the athlete does. So the athlete is mindful. If an athlete is not mindful, then they're just going to play at their most intense, doing whatever they immediately see is in front of them, and that's not always the right answer. So, if you want to be a better athlete, you got to get good at mindfulness. Another benefit of mindfulness is that you're not swayed as easily. You are a bit more just kind of chill, just kind of like, okay, whatever. And you don't have as much shiny object syndrome. So if you struggle with starting a lot of projects, then mindfulness is a way that you can combat that. And it's a skill you have to level up in, you have to grow in, you have to make a commitment, you might have to make systems for it. That's okay. Like, here's something about success that people don't really need to get better at grasping is that it takes a long time. Okay? I don't really care what you're trying to do. It's going to take a long time. I know for a fact you think that you can do it faster than you can. And if you are the person who gives extra time and understands like, okay, things actually take way longer than I think they will, like, good for you. That's the first step, but you still probably think it's going to happen faster than it does. Like, that sucks. It's the reality. But that's how things work. And I'm glad that it works this way, because if things did not work this way, everybody would be successful. You have to pay a price to get to any type of skill which you want. Which, remember, skill and wisdom are the same thing. And wisdom is the ability to get and use skill quickly. And that's kind of a, like, I like saying that. Like, I like that quote. But it's a little bit misleading. Just a little bit. Because I'm going to give you an analogy here. Plants. So how plants grow is they spend almost like 80% of their energy focused on their roots. The roots are what actually come and intake the nutrients from the soil, and you can see it. It's like a mirror image. It's like you have all this root system, and the roots are typically like way, 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 way bigger than the actual plant. The plant might just be like a spindly little stalk, compared to the roots. Or if you've seen a tree, it's like you basically have like an inverse of the tree existing underground that's taking in nutrients, right? And so it's pretty impressive. Now, people grow in the same way. You think about it this way, that the top part, the upside, is success. The blooming is the wins that you get when you're successful, right? But success takes skill. Success requires wisdom. And that all happens in the dark, in the back, underground, where nobody sees you, and you're not winning. You're just consuming and growing over and over. And you've got all these different flows and paths you have to go down. And it's a little treacherous, all right? But this is the hero's journey. You need to have something difficult to go through. Otherwise, what's the point in going through anything, right? It would just be pointless. Like, you have to have a challenge to defeat to actually gain any glory, which is inevitably what you want, right? If you want to be successful, it's a kind of glory. So this is where 80% of your effort is going to be. Like, 80% of everything you do over the whole span of whatever journey you're on, and I'm going to get more specific, whatever skill you're focusing on, it's going to be in the dark, right? As of posting this, I know I have around 100 subscribers, and I get probably like 12 views per video. This is where I'm at. But because I understand this, I'm not depressed about it. I'm not freaking out about it. I just know that this is part of the process. And the thing about success is it's exponential. And so I'm betting on myself, and you can bet on yourself, that you're not going to see results for a very long time, and then all of a sudden, overnight, it's going to happen. That's always the pattern that people have. Whether it be how long it took somebody to make their first $100, how long it took somebody to make their first $1,000, how long it took somebody to reach a certain level of skill, how long it took somebody to reach platinum in League or something. You know what I mean? Like, this is a pattern in life. It's reproducible. It's everywhere. Success is exponential. And for the first 8 out of 10 parts, you see almost no results, and then it happens. That's how it works. Okay? So don't be afraid. Don't freak out. Just understand that you need patience, and it's going to take time. And this building, I'm going to give you a tip here. If it doesn't exist outside of you, it's not real. Period. And that's what execution is about. It's about taking something and putting it outside of you. Now, there's a base level of that, which is I'm executing, I'm doing things, and I'm working. And then the higher level of that, which you need, this is what really makes it, quote unquote, like real. That's like a kind of real, but then this is more real. You can think of it as is building. So until something is in a system, until something is automated, until you have a workflow that is completely forged and you know exactly what to do every step of the way, and there's metrics along the way that you can track, and all of that, it takes time. It takes a lot of time to build. Okay? Now I'm going to give you some shortcuts here because we like shortcuts. There really are no shortcuts in life, but there are strategies that you can use to condense the time, and that's part of the skill, and that's what the skill of productivity is figuring out how to condense these long processes into a shorter time through using your intellect. So that's another key thing about productivity is if you want to upgrade your productivity, you need to be focusing on your intellect. You need to be focusing on becoming skilled in the sense of growing your mind and actually growing skills. I meant to say wisdom. You need to become wise. So intellect plus, so knowledge plus execution equals skill equals wisdom. Okay? This quote unquote shortcut I'm going to give you is not actually a shortcut. It's just good design. Making things minimal, which is extremely important for you as somebody with ADHD because likely you get overwhelmed and overstimulated very easily if you have ADHD because you have trouble, your brain has trouble regulating dopamine, and it has also at the same time a higher sensitivity to stimulation, to dopamine, okay? So you need to keep things minimal. You need to keep things dead simple. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. My system for getting things done is not some extravagant Notion board that took me like 18 hours to set up, and a bunch of tweaking and experimenting and changing things. It's dead simple. It's a text document. I write down what I want to get done for that day. I put notes in there that I need. And I just burn it at the end of the day. Like, that's it. It's like, okay, I got done today what I needed to get done. And then the skill is actually just figuring out what you should probably be doing. And then understanding, like, okay, I did this day, I should do this day. Or I know I need to focus on this thing, so I'm just going to focus on it every single day. And if I keep getting off track, then I know that I need to build a system for it. And you just build a system for it. So it's just like strategy and troubleshooting and figuring out what you need to do next. These are all skills that take a long time to acquire. But it's okay, because if you submit to the process, it will happen. It's inevitable. That's why we bet on ourselves, because we know the process, and the process produces inevitability. Okay? So you just have to have faith while you're growing in the treacherous, dark, learning everything you need to learn, gaining every insight you need to gain. And guess what? It never really stops. The roots are always growing. It's just one day this thing springs up, and then it's like, oh, yay. And then guess what? To get to the next level, if you want to go from a flower to a tree, you have to do it again. And it's the same process of growing the roots more and more and more, more and more and more, more and more and more, more and more and more. But because you know so much by this point, it's actually a little bit faster. And then you grow into like a stemmy sort of plant that's a little bit better. And this video is originally supposed to be about mindfulness, so I'll try and bring it back to that, but I guess this was more important, so this is what you're getting. And then you go from there to a tree. And then you go from a tree to Yizgradil. That's it, man. But you got to keep things minimal, right? That's the main point, is when you're building systems, keep them minimal. The text document is a very minimal system. It works for me. If you need an upgrade bar, if you want to gamify your life, you don't even need a bar, right? You can actually just have in a text document like some reasonable measure, and make sure you're playing at the level you're actually at. Don't try and send 100 cold DMs if you've never even sent one, okay? So just make it like 0 out of 10 or like 0 out of 1. And then just the next few days keep upgrading it. Like every time you hit it, up it. That's a really good system. When you hit the goal, up it, you know. So there's that. But let's get back to mindfulness. that was a tangent. So mindfulness helps with all of this. It really does, because if you're not, mindfulness is basically what wants to get you to focus on this. Mindfulness gets you to focus on this. And it gets you to stay present and in the moment and working on the thing that you should actually be working, instead of like being hyped about. And here's the thing, you can be hyped. I know I teach that a lot here. Like, be hyped. It's good to be hyped. It's just make sure that you're hyped about the right thing. Mindfulness can help you do that, because your brain will not be clouded with, it's not going to be clouded with the immaturity of, this is where I really want to be right now, so this is what I'm going to be focusing on. Like, you need to prepare. You need to prepare. You need to take time, skills. So many things that you're going to be told on your journey to success are going to seem completely contradictory. Okay? And you have to just understand that the reason that things like that show up is because there is a time and a place for using each. And it takes skill to learn how to use these things. What matters, the only thing that matters, is that you are genuinely trying and genuinely executing every day. Which is why productivity is one of the best skills you can choose to level up in. All right? And you just need to strategize and think about your life and what's going to work for you right now. Now, how do you actually be mindful? How do you gain all of these benefits with mindfulness? Well, one thing that I do is I'll create a trigger. This helps a lot, where if I walk through a door, that's a moment to say, oh, hey, I should be mindful. And how you actually do that is by just stopping, and there's a part of you, you can feel it, that's basically disconnected from all of your emotions, disconnected from everything that's going on around you. And this is your awareness, or you could say it's your spirit. And it's the foundation of who you are. It's who you actually are. Your ego is like clothes that your spirit wears. And your spirit, its whole thing is that it starts to become connected and integrated with your ego. But your ego, if it becomes too strong and too powerful, will start to take over your spirit, and it will start to go and do its own thing, and it's always bad. The ego always wants to do things that don't make sense. That's the typical rule that you can expect from the ego. Whereas your spirit is very chill, it's very connected with the way things actually are, and you just rest. Or you could think of this as your subconscious mind as well. And so, how do you actually get here? How do you get to this point? How do you connect with the spirit? Well, what you do is you just find that part of you that you would call the observer. It's the part of you that exists behind everything, and just sit with it. And then just observe. Just observe things around you, going on inside your head, going on around you. It's basically your awareness. And then your awareness, you have to understand, is separate from everything that goes on around you and inside of you. So if you can create that healthy distance, then you will be okay. That's how you connect with your spirit. That's how you connect with your awareness. Is just having that healthy distance, understanding this is not who I am. All I am is the thing behind the window watching. And then it's like all of a sudden everything becomes easy. It's like, oh, this was never as serious as I thought it was. And that the cloudiness gets removed, the jumbledness goes away, and it's so much easier to slow down. And this is what meditation is. If you want to meditate, that's all it is you just focus on this and just observe things around you and don't become attached to them. Just be detached. And when you have ADHD, you're actually better at meditating. You can be. It might be a little bit harder at first, which if you're going to get into meditation for real, if you know the benefits and stuff, my suggestion is to just do 5 minutes a day. And then from there, go to 5 minutes a day twice a day. And then from there, 5 minutes a day 3 times a day, and whatever speed you feel necessary. And make sure you put it on a system, or like track it somehow, because if you don't, you're probably going to not do it. Reward yourself for it as well. And then after you get to like 3, 4, 5 times a day, then maybe up it to like 10 minutes 1 times a day. And then just keep redoing that. Okay? Make sure you're playing things at the level that you're at. But what I can tell you is I've gotten to the point where I was able to meditate for 40 minutes at a time, and I was probably able to hold like pure silence in my head for like 5 minutes at a time. And it gets to the point, like, again, it's criticality. You get to the point where you hit criticality, and then it's easy. Okay? And if you fall out of it, it's harder to do, and I have fallen out of it. But it's not my focus right now, and that's okay. Know what you need to focus on in life. If you are very pushed around by your emotions, and you're starting a bunch of different projects, and you're worrying about things, then maybe you should focus on meditation. And maybe you only focus on it for as long as you need to. And maybe you don't even go into meditation. You just do basic mindfulness, which for me, a good trigger for mindfulness of just being mindful and being connected and like getting in my head and just like, chill, is walking through a doorway. That's my trigger. Whenever I actually notice that I just walked through a doorway, it's like, okay, it's time to be mindful. Take like the next 10 seconds to just chill, focus on my breath. Deep breath in, deep breath out, maybe do some box breathing, and that helps. And then it's something that you try and do as often as you can, and not necessarily just the trigger. It's like you're trying to be more aware. It's the skill. So it takes effort, but it has all these crazy benefits. And you could almost say that it's like the skill of being alive, because your awareness is your life. Like, that's the substance of your experience. So you could argue that this is the most important skill. I don't know. Take that as you will. Coaching's $50 per session. If you want more help forging these flows and getting some more active, careful, like this is what we should do right now, like this is what's going to actually work for you, or just to have somebody to motivate you, hold you accountable, help you build momentum, that sort of thing. It's $50 a session. Or if you want to learn how to use Linux for productivity, if you want to learn how to become a power user, all of that, then that's $100 per session. That's what I got. Love you guys. Stay blessed. Peace.